All right, we're looking at grouping chords in the open position, most common keys, grouping them in terms of keys. And thus far we've looked at the 1-4-5 progression, the 1-4-5-7, meaning the four-note chord on the fifth degree. And as well, we've looked at the 1-6-4-5. The sixth chord in a major key is A minor. Is a minor chord. In the case of C, it's A minor. So my sixth chord in the key of C is A minor, and my sixth chord in the key of G is E minor. Okay. And we won't go too much further than these two keys in this lesson. All right. Now that sixth chord is also what is called the relative minor, if we were to look at it as being in its own key. So in the key of C, the relative minor to the key of C major is A minor. Now let's take a look at the key of A minor. In the key of A minor, we have a 1 chord, which is an A minor. And we have a 4 chord, which is A, B, C, D, D minor. And we have a 5 chord, which is A, B, C, D, E, E minor. And then back to our 1 chord, which is A minor. So now we're taking a look at a 1-4-5 chord progression in a minor key. A little less common than major key, but nonetheless, it's something that that you should know and that you should practice. So in the case of the key of A minor, the notes of A minor will be shared by C major, because those two keys are relative. 1 chord in the key of A minor is A minor, 4 chord D minor, 5 chord E minor, and 1 chord A minor. D minor, E minor, and back to 1. So that's a 1-4-5 chord progression in the key of A minor, which is relative to the key of C major. Let's try the same thing in the key of G. Down to our relative minor. Our 1 chord in the key of E minor, which shares the same notes as the key of G major. Is E minor. Our 4 chord in E minor is A. E, F sharp, G, A. And our 5 chord is B minor. And you can play that B minor by moving an A minor chord like this, using your other 3 fingers, shifting up 2 frets, and just grabbing the bass note. You don't have to do a full bar, just grab that bass note. So our minor key, our 1-4-5 in E minor, which is relative to G major, is going to be E minor, A minor, B minor, back to E minor. Here we come, B minor. All right, so that's 1-4-5 in E minor, which is relative to G major. Now, let's maybe try this same thing with another key. So far we've had A minor, D minor, and E minor. Back to A minor. And we've had E minor, A minor, B minor. All right. Now, if we try a new key, let's try D minor. The one chord of D minor is going to obviously be D minor, and this D minor is because you already know this chord and have it underneath your fingers. That's why we want to use this key. It's relative to the key of F major, which. But I want to take a look at the key of D minor because it's used a lot in a certain context, which we're going to discuss. So D minor, and then my 5 chord in D minor is A minor, D, E, F, G, A. The 4 chord is G minor. And this is where it gets to be a little bit of a trick in the key of D minor, because you've got this full bar. So let's just stay away from that bar right now, and instead go to a G major chord. So the 4 chord is going to be G major. Now that's a great sound, and it's a sound that I want to introduce you to in a minor key. That 4 major chord is actually, we call that a Dorian 4, because a Dorian mode is a minor key. In the case of D minor, we'd be in D Dorian, but the 4 chord in D Dorian is a major chord. And that's the progression I'd like you to have a little bit of fun with and practice, so that we have 4 minor keys in open position. 3 minor keys in open position, I'm sorry, with each one of them having a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. But in the case of D minor, so we can stay away from this big bar, we're going to use that 4 major. And let's listen to that progression a little bit. It's a little brighter than the other 1, 4, 5 chord progressions we were looking at, being 1, 4, 5 in A minor, 1, not a major, right, but a minor, and back. And then we also looked at E minor, 4 chord A minor, 5 chord, we moved that up to B minor, and then back to our E minor. Now, I would like you to do each one of those chord progressions. We're just going to take one step further. In the key of A minor, I'd like you to also try the 4 major in the key of A minor. A minor is the 1 chord. Before we were playing D minor as the 4 chord. Also try D major as the 4 chord. Great sound coming from the Dorian. And then let's do exactly the same thing in the E minor key. 1 chord in the key of E minor. 4 chord is major. And so on. So to recap, We start with 1, 4, 5 chord progressions in a minor key. The minor key is relative to the major key. Then, in the case of, so each one of those A minor, D minor, E minor, 1, 4, 5, and then E minor being relative to G, E minor, A minor, B minor, 1, 4, 5. Then we looked at D minor to the 4 major chord because it's such a nice, simple, and common change. And then we moved back to the other 1, 4, 5 chord progressions we used, and I'm asking you to try the 4 major over each one of those as well. That 4 major chord comes from the Dorian mode. It's a Dorian sound, which we'll explore more later. 1, 4, 5 chord progressions in 3 minor keys. Those minor keys are A minor, E minor, and D minor. And when we put a 4 major in the 4 position, those keys are going to become A Dorian, D Dorian, and E Dorian.